Hi, my name is Gage.
And my name is Kim, and this is the Helping Henderson podcast.
And our goal here is to reinstill the sanctity of marriage and family. So we hope that you enjoy this episode. And if you do, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And as always, we help.
And he heals.
All right, well, welcome back to the Helping Henderson podcast. My name is Gage.
And I am Kimberly Henderson.
And we are your Helping Hendersons. Looking forward to today's episode. It's been a while since we've been filming. It's really been hard to get back on track for some reason.
Yeah, I feel like going into season 2, it's been like we knew we want to do it. We knew we had to do it, but it was just so many things that just came up.
Yeah.
Our schedules definitely got busier.
Schedules got busier. But I also think too, and this will help segue into today's topic. Schedules definitely got busier, but I think again, who we were at the beginning of season 1 and throughout season 1 was not who we are at the beginning of season 2.
Not at all.
Or now going through season 2 filming.
Right.
I mean, and especially whenever you start anything, it's very exciting.
Yeah.
You know? But then it's another thing to actually now steward it.
Right.
Right? I'm thinking of Moses. It's one thing to go to Pharaoh and say, let my people go, and do all these dope miracles and see God work, and then you part the Red Sea. Okay, cool. That was a dope season.
Yeah.
Now you're in a wilderness.
Right. Right. Now what?
And now you just walk.
Right. No, for real.
For real, you just walk and you still hear from God, and then every now and then you go hear from God and you come back to your people, and the people are tripping and doing a whole bunch of weird stuff, and you have to keep your integrity throughout it all, and still trying to I think even Moses himself, when I'm thinking of him right now, I see him as 3 different points. It's you have the palace Moses, who's one completely different guy.
Yeah.
He leaves the palace, and then he's just shepherding.
Yeah.
And he just has a heart that cares, and God sees that and uses it and says, hey, I need you to go free my people. And so that's another Moses.
Yeah.
And he just cared about the people and just wanted to lead them.
Yeah.
And then now you have this this well-developed leader, Moses, in the wilderness of guys, how are you not getting this? And
while also battling his own insecurities and
throughout his whole life,
throughout his whole life, and the acceptance and belonging and all of these different things. And then now it's then you said, how come you guys aren't getting this? And now I have to lead all of these people to a different place and destination. And mind you, I know where it's at, but I don't really know where it's at. I'm just trusting God with it.
Yeah 100%. It's and I believe in it.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm supposed to lead people who don't believe in it.
Yeah.
Or who don't see it.
Yeah.
And how...
I would say that's a good point. It's people who don't see it.
Yeah.
Because when God gives you something, he gave it to you.
To you, yeah.
And then now it's how do I constantly keep everybody else inspired? How do I keep everybody else committed to the mission? How do I keep everybody else with going out and doing the thing that God told us to do?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all that to say, I think as I'm thinking of, as I reflect kind of on that and just the life of Moses and where we're at in season 1 and season 2, I don't want to say our biggest challenge in starting season 2, but I think our biggest reminder has been hey, don't forget to fall in love with your partner.
Yeah.
Not only don't forget to fall in love with your partner, get to know your partner today.
Yeah.
And let your partner be your partner. Let them be them.
Yeah.
You know, it's very important because we've gone through the same experiences, but have had 2 different vantage points.
Right.
And the way you've experienced them from your vantage point has caused you to grow and develop in a very specific way.
Yeah.
That again hasn't been counter, and I think everyone needs to like keep this in mind. If my partner, the people I'm surrounded with in relationship, are they growing, changing, and developing? They should. Everyone should be.
Yeah.
If you were still the same person, I'd probably have a little bit more questions, but you're
Right.
not.
Right.
Now, has your growth, change, and development been in a way that is further aligned with our values or disengaged from the values?
That's good.
If they're further aligned, then and I'm getting frustrated, then I may have to take a step back and say, what's causing this frustration,
Yeah.
right? Um, but if the growth and development is not in accordance to our values or our belief system, well, then I have all means to say, wait, hold on, this is not a change I can accept.
Yeah.
But as long as we're still aligned in our values and our beliefs, I should be expecting and looking forward for you to change.
Yeah.
But I should also be equally intentional in being mindfully aware of what those changes are
Yeah.
and how do I love and embrace those changes.
Yeah.
Because the same way you're changing, I have to change. And I
Yeah.
am changing.
But even now I have to change in how I love this new person. I have to
Mm-hmm.
change in how, like, I see them, how I view them, and even just kind of going back because, like, if you talk about just the differences of, like you said, we both went through something, but you had a different vantage point than I did. But I also could be carrying something that may not
Yeah.
serve me. Maybe I brought something into this new season that was like, not really, it doesn't serve me anymore. I don't have to feel so protected or guarded or whatever the case may be. But now that's playing out in the relationship. It's playing out in our dynamic. And how can I now say, okay, like you said, are these things something that I can accept, something that I actually have to challenge, something that I actually have to say, hold on, like I love you, but there is a different direction that you're going in that's not in alignment to who we are and our core values and what we represent. And I think it's really just kind of defining all of those because that's truly what marriage is. Marriage has its ebbs and flows and well, did I say that right? Is it ebb and flow or ev? I don't know.
I'm sorry. All I saw was hustle and flow. I said, wait, what?
But
And ebb and flow. No, yeah, it's ebbs and
and it
flows.
has its ebbs and flows. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, how do we define like those different transitions and how do I truly accept? Even like when I think of even before being married, like was I, maybe the person that I thought you wanted me to be?
Mm.
Or am I really operating in who?
Like, were you trying to be someone you thought I wanted you to be?
Yes, not you specifically, because I feel like you were the person that I was 100% able to feel safe with and be my most authentic self. But I can definitely say in past relationships,
Mm.
like I would go into them like thinking that I was going to be the person that I wanted them to be, or that they wanted thinking that I was going to be the person that I thought they wanted me to be.
So as you're talking to them, you're gathering information from them and you're slowly changing and morphing yourself based on the information you're receiving from that person.
Yes, rather than actually like being authentic to who I am, who God has created me to be,
Yeah.
being the person who is like, the prayer warrior, the one who's like, I really do, call things out or whatever.
Yeah.
And like being like, oh, I'm not going to say anything because maybe I need to be a little bit more chill to be accepted by them.
Yeah.
Rather than, no, this is really who I am. And how do you even navigate through those territories? And, either whether it be you're single, whether it be you're married, whether it be, again, we're changing, we're evolving, we're doing all of these things, but how can we truly accept our spouse for exactly who they are?
I'm sorry. I'm taking a while because like I'm actually my brain is trailing off into a therapeutic concept that like you touched on
Mhm.
um that I think is like and it's this topic of like congruence.
Mhm.
I'm going to answer your question. How do we essentially the question was how do we get ourselves to falling in love with our partner,
Yeah.
right? But I think that question only comes by way of our partner being authentic and congruent to who they really are.
Mm.
Because if you're not really authentic and congruent to who you really are internally, externally,
Mhm.
I'm going to fall in love with something
That's not true.
that's not true.
Yeah.
That's not real. It's a lie because it's not who you really are.
Right.
And so that only comes by way of our partner, of you, Kim,
Mhm.
being your most authentic and congruent self at all times.
Yeah.
Because then I'm going to fall in love with pieces of you that should have never been there.
Mm.
Like, and that's what happens. So, like, and I'm gonna geek out a little bit, but there's this topic of congruence. It's not Rogerian therapy. It's not Freud. It's I think I have to think of it. Jungian, Carl Jung. I think it's Carl Jung. I think in his framework of psychotherapy, there is a topic of congruence, the inner self, the inner man. And so what it's essentially saying is that internally internally you are this person. You have these thoughts, these values, these opinions, these ways of seeing this world, the viewpoints, and all those things, right? Um, However, based on what you experience throughout your life,
Mhm.
your external presentation to the world may differ or alter
Mhm.
based on what you've experienced.
Mhm.
So therefore, what happens internally, I may be a very loving and kind and gentle person,
Yeah.
but when I go through a childhood trauma, when I go through a betrayal, when I go through a life event,
Mhm.
now I no longer display what I am internally. On the external, you get callous, you get rude, you get guarded, you
Mm.
get jaded.
Right.
So now I have this internal presentation that is conflicting with this external presentation. Thus,
Mm.
I never get to be who I am innately.
Yeah.
Right. And now I may be messing up my therapeutic modality. So if I am, please have grace, but I'm going off the cuff right now. So, but that's how I understand this topic of congruence. Now, the reason that's important, because biblically, you were knit in your mother's womb by your creator.
Let me tell you how I love the Holy Spirit. 'Cause that's literally what I was, like, going to talk about today. It was just literally, like, when we initially talked about this entire, like,
Hmm.
episode, I was like, I really wanna touch on Psalms 139 because of that very portion of the scripture, 13 and 14, but go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to stop.
No, you're good. You're good. You know
Yeah.
me. I come in here. I'm like, okay, Holy Spirit, you're gonna, I do my study, but I'm like, Holy Spirit, you're gonna take this to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And so, but I love that because as I'm thinking of it, I love just how, um, the Bible meets psychology in such a beautiful way, and how I love what even Solomon said. There's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, not
Right?
at all.
So we come up with, with these thoughts and ideas, but it's in here. It's in the word
Yeah.
of God. And so with you being knit in your mother's womb, there is a knit, there is a design, there are things that are knotted within you
Mhm.
that you are to be and present to the world.
Yeah.
Now, what happens though is when we start doing things externally that aren't internally, I believe we actually start unknitting ourselves
Ooh.
and we start unraveling. And
Yeah.
so we wonder why we're apprehensive, or we're more guarded, and we don't trust our
Right,
spouses, or we
right.
don't trust people around us. We wonder why we're very abrasive, we're very sharp, we're very rude, angry all the time.
Mhm.
You are unraveled.
So good.
You have not, I believe, done the work to search the inner man, who
Yeah.
you are internally, really spending time with Jesus and saying, in this season, how am I knit? In this stage of life,
Yeah.
how am I knit? What did you knit inside of me?
Yeah.
And how can I take what's knit within me and present that to the world? Except what you did is you just started pulling at stuff,
Yeah.
and you've actually unraveled yourself, and now you're preventing just this clump to the world
Yeah.
that no one can do anything with it. And it's actually more frustrating because if you've ever had a ball of yarn that isn't perfectly wrapped,
Yeah.
it's all over the place. It's
Yeah.
messy. It's
Yeah.
confusing.
Yeah.
So then it's going back to your creator and saying, "Hey, I need you to fix this mess.
Yeah.
I need you to fix. I'm not going to fix this mess anymore. I
Right.
need you to fix this mess.
Right.
I need you to to clean this up, and I need you to knit me and show and reveal to me that knitting so I can be that." Only then can the partner now say, "I love this version of you."
Yeah.
I love you for who you are, and only then can you receive the love. Because what'll happen is, and it's happened in with me and you, we'll give a presentation to one another that we believe that we'll actually love, and we may love it in that moment,
Yeah.
enjoy it in that moment, but then you or I end up resenting each other.
Well, because it's not sustainable. I'm not being who God has ultimately called me to be.
Mhm.
Because I think that's the thing when you're talking about, it talks about, God knit us in our mother's womb, but then it also begins to say is how we're fearfully and wonderfully made, is that He
Yeah.
made us as this beautiful masterpiece. He looked at us in awe and said, like, this is someone who I've created. I'm in awe of this creation. And I think sometimes is that, like you said, kind of going back to even seeing that of yourself. And I can admit, like previously, when I was in my single season, I would be all of these different things rather than who I was authentically. And I can say that when I began to love what God had created, how He made me, how, my quirkiness, how I'm like, I'm a klutz. I don't do I don't know how to walk and not fall. You know what I mean? Like He made me this way. My voice, the way I speak, the way everything about me is how He designed. And once I became accepting of myself, I was able to now say, okay, if I enter into a relationship and this relationship does not accept me the way that God designed me, then it's not for me.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I don't need to be in this. I don't need to be near this. And that's in all relationships because you can say that in a marriage, but I can say that even in, if you're in a friendship and your friends don't accept you. Now, let me be clear in what I'm saying because listen, they don't need to accept foolishness. I'm not saying that that gives me a pass or us a pass to be fools, to be rude, to
Yeah,
be
no.
condescending, to be whatever. That's not what I'm saying or to be unhealthy. What I am saying is
Like, there
that
has to be a
there
respect.
has to be respect, a mutual
Yeah, a
respect that's
mutual respect.
established.
Yeah.
But there can be things where it's like, I've been in situations where it'd be like people would make fun of me because of my hair or make fun of me because of the way I speak or the way I talk and things like that. And it would be like, man, like, but this is who I am.
Yeah.
Like, I can't change that aspect. It was something that even so like, I'll even say something as practical as, like, my hair. My hair is gray, obviously, but my gray hair came by way of I wanted to have my hair grown out and all of my gray, and I didn't wanna dye my hair. But you were really, like, very like, "Babe, stop dyeing your hair."
Yeah.
Like, let your beauty show and be that, right? And I remember how much freedom I had in that, not even realizing how much that was. But now I'll take it a step further where it's even like when I meet other women, I get compliments about my hair all the time. Your hair is beautiful. Oh my gosh, is that really your gray hair? Is that dyed? And I'm like, no, that's really my hair. It's not the trend for me, it's mine. And people would stop and be like, wow, it's so beautiful. I could never. And I'm like,
Mm.
"Really?" I was like, "I dyed my hair," or I was like, "My hair I stopped dyeing my hair because my husband told me how beautiful it was just like this." And, like, how many women I've heard say, "My husband would never. He tells me I gotta wear my hair like this. I gotta cut it like this. I can never cut it." All of these different things, but, like, what it is to have freedom within a relationship, to be free to who you really were created to be.
Mhm.
Something
Mhm.
as practical as my hair,
Mhm.
but being accepted is the world.
Oh, 100%. And how much are we looking at one another to find those things, search those things,
Mhm.
be mindful of those things? Where is it within my partner where I'm finding that they're having difficulty accepting themselves?
Mm, that's good.
Right? And how can I support my partner in further accepting that piece of themselves, loving that piece of themselves? And the number one way you do it is by you falling more in love with that piece of them and valuing that piece.
Yeah.
Right. And so I remember, when even in doing that, it was like I would just see I can I and it wasn't even like anything other than just watching your face like seeing how important it was to you and just wondering why, but also hearing your heart of what you really wanted.
Mhm.
And so it's like, okay, hold on, I'm hearing my partner's heart, but I'm seeing them do something contradictory to what their heart posture
Mm.
is. Then you know what? Let me be the one that just promotes the heart.
So good.
Let me be the one, but it really takes an intentional husband. It really takes an intentional wife. It really takes an intentional partner that's gonna sit there, listen to their partner,
Mm.
more not less of what they're saying
Mhm.
and how they're presenting,
So good.
right?
Let me let me ask you a question
Yeah.
because I like what you just said. That's fire. As a man, though, like, what are those things that would make you feel most accepted? Like, what are the things because I feel like there's an emphasis on, like, a wife for women in general, single, not single, whatever the case may be, learning how to accept themselves, but what is it that is for a man and what that means to you to be accepted by your partner or to be accepted within yourself? Especially because, like, let's say if your goal is, am I providing for my family? Am I doing all of these things? Am I, a provider, protector? And if I can't do any of those P's, I don't know what the last P is, but if you can't do all of those things, how does that impact your acceptance as a husband or a man?
That's a great question. So I would say for me, and a lot of men's answers are going to be different, but I'll say this, and I think the number one challenge for men is they're going to have a healthy understanding of manhood.
Mm, 'kay.
Because I feel like a lot of men today are chasing this understanding of what masculinity and manhood is or should be, especially in today's culture when manhood is so polarizing.
Okay.
And there's like this huge like this spectrum of manhood where you're like either this overly masculine Andrew Tate type man or you're this very no effeminate no manhood masculinity all that is not like it's we're in a place today where I think manhood can at sometimes be so confusing
Mhm.
to where there's some people that just go on these two err on these two different sides. What I would say what men truly need is and it's hard for a lot of men to answer what being accepted is because I don't think a lot of men are truly humble in identifying what their needs are.
Mm.
I think a lot of men are lacking in their humility to acknowledge that your needs are not just financial, your needs are not just physical, your needs are also mental and emotional. And I think we have a lot of men today who are neglecting those last two, the mental and emotional needs, as they are hyper prioritizing and hyper fixating on, well, what I need to be is this financial provider.
Yeah.
Well, what I need to be is this masculine, domineering protector. And if I could do these things, then I'm the man that I need to be. For a season,
Mhm.
for a season. Yet there's gonna come a time when you haven't learned to fall in love and accept your own mental needs, that you need to a place of verbal decompression, that you need a thought partner that you can confide in, that you need someone that you can go to and tell that you're strong, or these emotional needs that, hey, you know what, I'm a little sad today. Hey, you know what, I'm just a little stressed. Hey, I want to share this win with you, whatever it is. You're neglecting those two needs and hyper focusing on the other ones to where it essentially, from what I've seen, is it doesn't become enough.
Mm.
It doesn't become enough because you haven't, as the man, haven't fallen in love and prioritized those areas of yourself. And if you're not going to do it for yourself, you won't be able to do it with your partner. But here's what's happened when today in my practice and when I've counseled these men is these men will inadvertently get those needs met elsewhere
Mm.
without even realizing it.
Yeah.
And a subtle way they'll get those needs met elsewhere is they have tons of guys' nights.
Yeah. I was gonna say they had their boys.
They all like,
Yeah.
and they always have to be, with their boys doing X, Y, and Z, or they're the ones who are constantly, they might not even be with their boys or their friends, but at least every night, they're at the cigar lounge.
Yeah.
They're in their backyard by themselves, having a drink, having a cigar, whatever. Right? They're doing these little subtle things. And so you may do it in isolation, but you're still trying to get it met for yourself
Yeah.
without allowing your partner to meet that need
Yeah.
and not realizing how much freedom you'll have, how much love and acceptance you'll have instead of excuse me, really trying to find and have that need met elsewhere. But I think that's the biggest thing for men and for me. And I was because I and let me go back to the question. Your question, what do I need to feel accepted?
Yeah.
Right. For me personally, is I just need understanding.
Mhm.
Like and I don't care if anyone else understands me, but I do want my wife to understand me.
Yeah.
And I do want my wife to help me. She doesn't have to prioritize the things that I prioritize.
I love how you're speaking about me in third person.
Forget you right here. um, yeah, so I would want you. You don't have to like prioritize what I prioritize. Now, I would love for you to take part in some of the things that I prioritize
Yeah.
because I do want a friend. I want a best friend that I can do this stuff with.
Yeah.
Like like my biggest dream, what I would love is if me and you can both go to the shooting range. Like,
Oh, say less.
but
We
I
can go
mean,
to the shooting range.
yeah,
I
but
love to
I
shoot.
don't mean
Say
just going
less.
in at a down. I mean actually running drills.
Yeah. Okay,
Actually,
hold on. You want me to do what you and your boy do? Like you put on your gear and y'all no.
I
I
just
mean, I could
like
do that if that's what you want. Like that's a day, but y'all crack
you
me
see what
up.
I'm
You
saying?
want to have a tactical day with me.
Essentially, I would love
Okay.
that. I would
That
love
would make
that.
you feel accepted?
Because you know what that does for me at least.
Yeah.
It allows me, and I think that's what a lot of men. That's why a lot of men spend their times in spaces and places,
Mhm.
because it's their world.
Mm.
Right? And so
Mm.
sometimes it's just inviting you to be a part of that world
That's
with
good.
me.
Okay.
So that's why even this past like I was like, okay, next year, like, what if we do a fantasy football league?
Yeah, and at first I said no, and then I actually thought about actually how much fun that would be. So we are gonna do a fantasy football league next year. I
Yeah.
think we're gonna do couples, and then we decided like if someone wins the whole pool, then it would be like have a weekend getaway or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. So
Yeah,
it benefits, but it's just finding for me, and I would venture to say most men,
sure.
I think they really just want their wives to be a part of their world in some fashion.
And I think that's a great concept because I guess when you said it like that, at first when you're like, you want to go tactical, like shooting with me, and I'm like, no, I don't. But when you say it like it helps me feel like you're a part of my world, I think that changes the perspective of why I would wanna be involved in it. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Because I think that's if that's what makes you feel like, like I accept that that's what you are. You're very much so a person who is thinking about just how to protect the family and that you want me to be that way. You want right.
'Cause if
You
something happens, it all falls on me. It's not
Right,
fair.
yes, it does. No, I'm kidding. No, watch out, I don't play. No, but seriously, but I guess it really does make
Yeah.
a difference because you're saying like I'm a part of something that you're interested in. I'm a part of something that you really believe in, that you stand by, that you enjoy doing. And to know that it's doing something to enjoy it with you, absolutely, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
easy.
like, and I think that's what for me, I feel like a lot of men really look for within their partners
Mhm.
is, how are, we contributing to all of this together,
Yeah,
right? All aspects of lives together. And it goes back to just what the Gottmans talk about. It's this we-ness.
yeah, that's good.
Right? It's not this is yours, this is mine. Are some things that we do individually? Yeah, there are some things. But ultimately I think the goal is to come to a collaboration on some, if not all of it,
Yeah,
and really identifying what our life looks like. And then I think it helps us fall in love with one another more easily and more readily,
yeah,
right? Because we're spending more time with each other.
yeah.
We're taking greater care into consideration into one another and maybe even some of the tools that we're learning or some of the practices that we're doing, right?
Mhm,
Like for example, like even I think about the couple who runs a business together,
mhm.
how much time that takes, how much collaboration that takes, how much teammanship that takes. And they're, okay, I got to go to this meeting. Okay, you're going to go to that meeting. Okay, we're going to come back. We're going to talk. There's just so much togetherness there where
Yeah,
it becomes really difficult for these couples to break or split apart.
yeah. You know what I think about when you say that? Like, the only couple that really comes to mind is, like, Priscilla and Aquila in the Bible. It's like you hear about them 6 times in the New Testament, but when you hear about them, you always hear Aquila and Priscilla or Priscilla and Aquila,
Always together.
and that they were always together. They were tent makers.
Mhm.
They were in business, but then they were also in ministry together.
Mhm.
And I just think of just the level of friendship that that takes and, like, it goes back to, like you said, that intentionality piece of
Mhm.
everything. And, yeah, that's something that really does stick out to me.
Yeah.
I just think about, when it comes down to it, when we lack the acceptance of people that are in our world, and I think something that you said, there's not many things, but I want my spouse to get me. Because if my spouse doesn't get me, I feel like a lot of times when you don't feel accepted in whatever situation, scenario, friendship group, family dynamic, husband and wife, whatever scenario you place it in, if acceptance is not there, how lonely you would feel. How just misunderstood you would feel. How you would feel like no one gets me. I'm like I'm almost like nothing. You know what I mean? Not
Oh,
saying that like
yeah.
nothing, but like I don't get it. Nobody gets me. And just
Yeah.
you feel this, thing of isolation that I feel like almost like the enemy uses to really just kind of, I don't know, like you said, not even walking in the fullness of who God has called me to be. I find myself that you would find yourself shrinking in those situations. You would feel like your voice doesn't matter in those situations. You would feel like you are not anything to anyone.
Yeah, 100%.
And so that's why it's just so vital to really identify, like, first within yourself. Do you accept yourself? Do you realize how accepted you are? And then once you have truly accepted yourself for all of who you are, all of your flaws, all of your beauty, all of your quirks and all of those things, it really gives you that ability to represent yourself in whatever scenario that I'm in, whatever place that I'm in, whatever setting that I'm in, because of the fact that I'm comfortable with who I am.
Yeah. And I think you hit it on the head of saying it is an isolating tactic of loneliness within relationship and marriage and family,
Mm,
is not being accepted fully, or not being accepted fully for like who you feel that you could be, or allowing to yourself to be of who you are, if
yeah.
that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the work that I do with people, specifically those in depression, those isolated, those lonely, comes by way of, in their childhood experiences, they didn't have the freedom to be.
Mm,
So they had to appease parents. They had to, everything was worth and value.
mm,
And then so now everything only becomes based on my worth, my value, my acceptance is on based what I can produce, not based on who I am.
ooh, yeah,
Right. And then so now everything else is just trying to get that love, acceptance, worth, and value based on what they can produce within either relationships at work or however the case may be. But it's never, well, oh, this is what I love to do. This is what I enjoy doing. These are
mm,
parts of me. I'll say, even for us, like the hardest part in our marriage for me was, I trained jujitsu and MMA for years.
yeah,
It was very difficult for us at the beginning because it was like I'd be away for hours gone from you.
yeah,
And you're like, "Hold on, we're married now."
yeah.
Like,
Hold on, we got kids
we
to
yeah.
to get
And
together
kids
in the
came
morning.
fast too. So it's
Yeah,
like taking, an hour total of drive time, 30 minutes to get there, 30 minutes to get back. I'm there training for like an hour, 2 hours doing MMA and jujitsu and Muay Thai, whatever case may be. And then by the time I'm home, it's like 3 hours gone and you're like, "Dude, what's going on?"
yeah,
Now, as we work through that in our marriage, you finally started accepting, "Hey, Kim, jujitsu and MMA, all this stuff is of importance to me."
yeah.
So therefore, when I come home with a torn bicep, I'm not ridiculed for it or
No,
shamed for it or angry. I'm actually, you're my number one supporter.
yeah,
And I don't feel, oh my gosh, like I can't believe this happened. I don't have to put more shame on myself
yeah,
or embarrassment on myself because it's like, dude, you're 30 years old. What are you doing? Like,
yeah.
calm down.
No, but I'm glad you said that because what it was is that I remember, like, where I began to maybe not be involved in it, just because I didn't wanna be involved, but what I was able to do is kinda go to your world, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
think I went to, like, a belt promotion. I was able to like, our daughter got into it, like and I know that our little ones are kind of, like, interested in it now,
Yeah.
and for
You
me,
bought
it
me new
was
gloves, shin guards, all that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
bought you new gloves, new bag, all the things because I wanted you to know, like, hey, I support what it is that you're doing. And this is really who you are. This is what you've been doing for, like you said, 10 plus years. And it's just like, I wanted you to know that I was supportive of you, all things you. And so I just think it's one of those things that, yeah, I really, really, you know, have been blessed, but it was because I was blessed to be accepted by you, which makes it easy for me to accept you and the things of who you are. Because I just feel like it's one of those things that when we operate to this capacity, I feel like I can do anything because I have a husband who really supports all of who I am.
Yeah.
I have a husband who supports, the woman of God that I am, the woman that whether I'm on the pulpit or you're on the pulpit, it doesn't matter. We're cheering each other on because I have someone who's really for me.
Yeah.
And it has made me feel like I can truly do anything and be anything because you have my support.
Okay,
And I have your support.
let me ask you this question though.
Yeah.
Because and then we'll probably start to close the next like 10 minutes with this thought, but like essentially what we've been talking about is falling in love with your partner,
Yeah.
allowing your partner to be who they are
Yep.
fully, and finding ways to support and promote that. Right now, me and you are on two different spectrums.
Mhm.
For me, I was able to be selfish in my 20s.
Yes.
Right? I was able to just focus on myself. I was able to make all the dumb mistakes. I was able to go to college and just do what I was able to just do and live life.
Yes.
So I was able to learn about myself along the way.
Very true.
I was able to come into this marriage very aware and clear because I made some very conscious decisions about the things that I like, and I established my life in that way.
Yeah.
You, on the other hand,
I was 22, single mother.
okay, in your 20s, it's pure sacrifice.
Yes.
And let's even go late teens, early 20s before being a single mom. It's also surviving
Yeah.
um just ruptured family relationships
Yep.
and abusive relationship,
Yeah.
right? So you don't have that ability.
No.
What would you say?
Mm.
Because you are right, I fully champion and support you.
Yeah.
But I would say our biggest not our biggest, my biggest encouragement for you
Yeah.
has always been like, "Hey, I do this, I do this." Like, these are all things that like, what do you love? What do you enjoy?
Yeah.
So my question is, um, what would you say for the person in your shoes,
Okay.
or not in your shoes, but in a similar situation that had to sacrifice so much,
Yeah.
didn't have the ability to learn of themselves
Mhm.
as much as they wish they would have?
Mhm.
Um, what would you say for that individual
Mhm.
and for their partner, right? Essentially what I can do
Mm.
or need to do,
Yeah.
to help them further learn about themselves, further fall in love with themselves, and how their partner can help them in that learning and falling in love with who they are when they didn't have an opportunity to learn that or fall in love with that in themselves.
Well, I think it goes back to number 1, having a real heart to heart and conversation and giving space. One of the biggest things that we, encountered in our marriage is that you have, like you said, lived this life, got to make mistakes. I didn't get to make them. I had to immediately begin to sacrifice and do everything for my child. Now, did I not grow? Absolutely. I grew, I've changed, I've evolved, all of those things. But now I'm in a process of having to kind of rediscover who I am and really discover what is important to Kim. And it did not happen overnight. You would ask me all the time, and I never had an answer. But it wasn't until I was processing my thoughts, even after therapy, and I had sat there and thought about it like, wait, I didn't get that experience. So for me, thinking about staying hours away from home, away from our children, away from our family would be a foreign concept because that's something that I've always done is sacrifice. And so I don't know what that would feel like any other way. So I think what you have to extend as a partner is grace and give them space to have that conversation, but even come to that acceptance of themselves. That was something that wasn't easy to admit, but it's something that I did admit. Now, does that mean that I'm gonna go back and live like start wilding out at 40? No, that's not what I plan
Huh.
to do. You know what I mean? I'm still somebody's mama and I'm still somebody's wife. But allowing me to reclaim that there are things that I do want to accomplish and that I need space for them to occur or space for them to happen.
But let me say, I do hear what you're saying when you say wall out. But I think there is a healthy version of walling out. And here's what I mean by that.
Mhm.
I would say, and I would love to even see this of you, of just try the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
But even then, like, accepting of me, even when I was in the world, quote, unquote well, no, I was wilding out, but even then, I still had limits.
no, but
You know
well
what I'm
that's what I
so
mean. Wait, hold
so
on.
what I'm saying is, for me, try the thing would be what is trying the thing look like for me
Yes,
today?
yes,
You
yes,
know
yes,
what I
yes.
mean? And trying the thing today is now just like, "Okay, I'm gonna do the things that I set out to do. I want to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish." You know, I have different goals. I wouldn't say them here specifically, but there are different goals. And I would say that I know that I'm able to achieve them because you would give me the space to do it and that you champion me through it. So, I think that's one of the things that when I do share my heart, when I do share my dreams with you, you really do champion that best of me, and then you are just as willing to sacrifice that time to now say, "Okay, I was gone for 2, 3 hours at the gym," whatever the case may be, "but let me now pay you back in those 2 to 3 hours by allowing you to fulfill whatever it is that God called you to do,
Oh yeah,
or whatever
100%.
the thing is that you wanna
Yeah,
do
that
and
you're just interested
accomplish."
in.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And so I think that's where I say giving the space, you know, and I think that you did and do give space that when it's like, yeah, hey, I need to go get this done, you're like, cool, I got the girls. And I think that's what's most important is giving the space to do that and giving the grace to even, you know, some wives, some, you know, marriages, they may not even recognize that I needed to change. That I needed to have this season of discovery or have this season of like, yeah, there's more to my story, but I'm more than just a wife. I'm more than just a, you know, a mom. I'm more than this. And there are desires that are inside of me that I have to fulfill. And it's
Yeah,
having that help meet to truly help push me to those different areas and supporting me through them.
for sure. You know, you said something um that I think is a foreign statement for the single parent
Hmm.
is, yeah, I want to go do this. Oh, okay, go ahead. I got the kids.
Yeah.
Right?
So foreign concept.
For the single parent, it's often I need to find
I need to find a babysitter. And I don't want to inconvenience my
yep,
mom or I
yep.
don't want to inconvenience my family to take care of my child.
And so every time you're away, you feel the guilt
Yeah.
of inconvenience and having to now reframe it and shift it to it's no longer a guilt of inconvenience, but it's an encouraging support
Mm,
that should have always been there.
mm. Yeah. I think on that note. But I think that's really that's wisdom of
Yeah,
being able to reframe it. Because when you said like I am like an inconvenience, I remember feeling that often.
yeah,
And I remember having to do the work to change the thought pattern that I'm not an inconvenience to anybody because I'm able to accept who I am or I'm able to accomplish these things or that I do need a village or I do need people that love me and support me and who want to help me and
100%.
allowing them to do that. And it takes a level of humility to accomplish that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So, um, really hoping and praying this episode was a blessing, and an encouragement. I feel like I talked a lot this one, but
that's okay.
it is what it is. Anyways, we're here now. But no, yeah. So I think our hope, our goal for this episode was to ensure that, um, we all understand like who I'm married to today is not who I married back in 2020.
No.
Um, And so we have our own individual responsibilities to ensure that I love this person all the more today than I did back then.
Yeah.
But I also have to do the work. My wife has to do the work of giving each other space, place, and freedom to say, wait, and having the courage too to be like, hey, who are you today?
Yeah.
Okay, how well do you know yourself today?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to know yourself. Let me get to know that person, and then let me fall in love with that person fully. So that way we don't have to toil in feeling like we are inconveniences,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we're not good enough, we're not valued. So hope this was a blessing for you guys. Hope this was a great encouragement. Please continue to like, share, subscribe. Um yeah, anything you have, babe?
No, that's all.
All
Love
right.
y'all.
Take care.